The sense behind these reminders are to help everybody who is wanting to allow more clarity, more depth, more understanding in their life. To support them that one can bring this kind of remembrance also in the active life. Normally we are thinking that one wants to go deeper, one has to take time separately and go deeper in meditation. Yes, that is a very good preparation. I would recommend to everybody that. But we don't need to limit ourselves with that. And we have to see that the real test is in living. So these reminders are those which you can apply in the day-to-day living and allow a deepening of understanding and perception to happen, which will be in a way complementary to the time which you are taking to sit and watch. For some it will be very difficult to sit and watch, so in a way these reminders which I am giving are also a little more challenging for those who are new, but when you are not inwardly giving up, when you can persist and say, okay, I will experiment with it, I will try it, then in your readiness you will also find that it is becoming possible. For some it will be more easy when they can have some active exercises, and there are active and passive meditative exercises which you can generally do and which will be very valuable as a basis. And for some people it is just enough when they watch the breath and then extend the watching to all what is going on and go deeper in that way to be in a non-interfering way observing everything. So now coming to the exercise, because these exercises are basically a way to demechanize, to de-automatize oneself inside and enable one to look and see life, to look and see ourselves and each other more directly and deeply. The first reminder is to look at the other in every meeting you have in the day-to-day life. Not only at the periphery, not only at the outer aspects, not only on the body and physical level, but also to open oneself to feel the soul of the other, the spirit of the other, the essential human being which is behind this apparent manifestation in this body. This is why I said for those who are new it is a little bit challenging, but it will be valuable when you don't write it off as impossible, then you will be able to work with it. So it is just consciously creating this openness. That means we are not settling ourselves in this appearance and limiting ourselves to the judgments and labels which comes up, but we look and feel, who is this person? What is he or she? What is the nature of this person's reality? What is the hidden aspect? It is just like when you watch a tree You see the body of the tree outside, this big stem, the branches, the leaves, flowers and fruits. That is the outer aspect. But we know that the tree is standing on the earth with the help of the roots, and the roots are going on nourishing the tree. When we start considering also the roots which are hidden, when we look not only at the obvious and limit ourselves, but consider what is behind. So it is something in this direction. When you look at a human being and not settle in a belief and concept and label, but look, what is the soul of this person? What is the spirit of this person? What is this inner state, inner being? So it is not trying to figure it out from the head and trying to explain it in some way. It is more just putting the normal judgments and labelings aside and being more quietly feeling the other. So it's a direct feeling way of connecting to the other and noticing what all arises, what all comes, what all you come to feel, what all you come to sense. So this will be one of the reminders which you can experiment with for the next 3 weeks. And the second reminder is very similar, very much in the same direction, but with a different starting point. And the interesting thing is when you go into it, sooner or later, you will see that both these reminders are moving towards the same direction, and at one point it meets. So the second reminder is, in your interaction with the others, when judgments and labelings and categorizations are happening, notice that, but then ask yourself, what do I see when I look at this person consciously in a compassionate way? So the second reminder is bringing conscious compassion into your life. When you consider somebody sympathetically, like a mother who is considering a child whom she loves, even though it may be in a funny mood or have got all dirty and is not behaving the so-called nice way. But the loving mother tries to understand what is happening with this child. So a compassionate way of looking is considering the other consciously, sympathetically, and looking what is with the other. And the interesting thing is, when you are considering the other in a conscious way, you start discovering many things which you previously have not been seeing at all. Then you see that the other is also trying in his or her way to come in terms with life, to be happy, to have fun, to enjoy life, to find love, to find one's place in this life process. And in seeing it in this compassionate way, your whole understanding of yourself and the other deepens. But as I often mention, that we are able to feel into the other, like in the first reminder, or consider more compassionately the other, only as deep as we are considering ourselves and connecting to ourselves in depth. That is why in the deeper teachings there is a certain imagery brought in, where it is said that it is like when one is using a bow and an arrow. When the arrow is put together with the bow and you are pulling the arrow towards yourself, the deeper you pull the back part of the arrow to you, the farther it will go when you leave it and it goes in the opposite direction. It is in a way to say that the deeper you understand yourself, the deeper you can also understand the other. The deeper your perception of yourself, deeper your perception of the other becomes. So, it is not just about the other, it is much more about your own disentangling yourself from the judgments, the labels, the categorizations, the beliefs. Also by looking at the fears and the desires, the expectations which are all working in oneself. So this way you bring a deeper insight into the moment in your attempt to consciously consider and be compassionate towards the other. So these two reminders you can practice in alternate ways. In one connection you practice the first one, in another connection you practice the second one. So in this way you have the possibility to see that this is just different ways of approaching, and in the depth you find they are meeting. So work with them for at least 3 weeks, and if you have any questions arising in one of the next meetings, you can bring it up, or you can also send these questions here through the internet to the address what is given there. Now, before we conclude for this evening, we stay some moments, staying wakeful and present with all what is, without taking sides, closing the eyes, not identifying with anything, being wakeful, and allow everything to come up, don't interfere, pleasant or unpleasant. Let everything come up and let it also pass by. In this way, remain in non-interfering presence with closed eyes.